promised, this is the review of that comprehension you did at the back end of, well, a couple of weeks ago, at the back end of book 3, the Green Book. I'm not going to actually write the answers up. I'll keep it really simple. I'll just give you the answers verbally and perhaps indicate on the text on the left where exactly where the relevant Latin is. So straight in, number 1. Oh, by the way, you should always, before, you probably know this from GCSE English anyway, but you should always read the questions first to give you a bit of an outline of how the story actually pans out before diving into them, answering them. Also paying good attention to the mark scheme on the right hand side here, because it informs the length of your answer. Right, straight away, where was Salvius when he heard of Cogidubnus's death? A bit of a trick question this when I looked at it, because if you see the actual Latin, this first line here, what it actually says is Salvius, when he had heard about the death of Cogidubnus, left from the camp, which presupposes that he was in the camp at the time that he heard the news. So the answer should be he was in the camp. The answer isn't he left from the camp, because that's not a location at all, it's more an action. Where did he then travel to? Lines 1 and 2. Basically, again, a good sort of tactic here is to try and look for the vocabulary of travel, if nothing else. And the set phrase we find here is iter fecit. He made a journey, which of course informs you of the impending answer, which is ad aulam, to the palace. So that's number 1. How long did he stay there and why? Not losing sight of the fact there's a double question here, and as the mark scheme informs you as well. So don't forget both aspects of it. How long did he stay there? Ibi, there, again, that's your trigger point really. Novem dies, accusative of duration, for 9 days. Why? We've got a nice purpose clause flagging that up. In order to administer the affairs of Cogidubnus. That can be translated in numerous ways really. Both administrare and res are pretty flexible verb and nouns respectively. To see to the affairs of Cogidubnus, to administer the affairs of Cogidubnus, is about as good as a translation can be, I think. Question 3. After setting out again, what did Salvius do next? Again, the trigger word here, iterum, again, a word easily confused with iter, meaning a journey. Iterum is an adverb, and it means here, having set out again, he began, the word inception from that, extorquere, to extort money and wealth or resources from the Britons. 1 mark for that one. So he began to extort money and wealth, money and resources from the Britons. Nice guy. Number 4, what motivated some chieftains to help him, traitors to the cause? Non nulli principes, there's your trigger point there. Some chiefs, corrupted by greed and by fear, were helping or began to help Salvius. So that's the answer there. Greed and fear, the driving factors there. Question 5, why would you have expected Bellimachus to be satisfied, and why did he start plotting? Lines 7 and 10. We've got concessive here, the word quamquam. Deal with those more later. So it sets up one likely scenario and actually replaces it with the actual scenario. So although he received a capit many rewards and honours from Salvius, he was far from content. So that answers the first part. Why would you have expected him to be satisfied? Because he's in receipt of lots of rewards and honours from the king. Why did he start plotting? And that's in the very next line. Very common verb here, cupiebat. He was eager to be king of the Regnenses, which is one of the tribes of southern Britain. Enim, little word, means for, as in not number 4 but for, because. Hopefully you're getting the idea here that you want to be looking for these sort of trigger points within these questions that sort of give you a hint of explanation for events, for, although, because, or line 3, a result clause, sorry, a purpose clause, and these are the sort of things that quite good sort of comprehension technique to try and move you along a little bit, particularly if you're a bit short for time. Okay, question 6. How did Salvius find out about Bellimachus's plot? Lines 10 and 11. We've got just a straight translation here. Having been adduced, encouraged by this hope, that is the hope of becoming king, he began to conspire with several chieftains. Does that answer the question you answer? You think, not particularly. So look into the next bit here, to lines 10 and 11. Who, however, having not trusted in Bellimachus, took the matter back to Salvius. So how did Salvius find out about it? It's the chieftains who have essentially betrayed, indicated by the word there, they betrayed Bellimachus, and they reported it back to Salvius. Question 7. What decision did Salvius take when he heard of Bellimachus's treachery, and what question did Salvius put to his friends? Well, we can already see here it's quite a powerful perfect passive participle. Incensed by Bellimachus's audacity, he decided to kill him. One of the many words to kill, interficere, one of the more neutral ones here. And what question did Salvius put to his friends? The word amicos begins line 13 there, so that should draw your attention to this particular section of the text and answering the question. The question is, what did he put to his friends? He called them to him, ad se vocavit, quibus maxima confideba, in whom he greatly confided. He asked them, once they had ingressost, eos, just to underline that, eos ingressos go together. He asked those having been, once they had entered into the palace, whether he should adhibere, use force, strength, violence, or poison. So he simply asked them an either-or question. Should I use a blunt force, if you like, or should something a bit more sneaky in the form of poison? Just a quick point here on the word this, right up here. This in the singular has very negative connotations. Violence should be. Rioting. Third declension noun, violence. In the plural, however, vires, not to be confused with the word for a man, of course, which would be viri in the plural, but vires here, much more positive connotations. It means strength, perhaps power in certain contexts. This was a criminal offence in Rome. It was, say, violence, unlawful rioting. Vires, however, is a desirable quality, meaning strength or power. So just that slight duality between singular and plural. Question 8. What did one of the friends suggest, and how did Salvius feel doubtful about it? Now, again, this word here, what did one of the friends suggest? Looking through the text, you can see unus. That's going to be the focal point for your answer. One of the friends, described as a very clever man, said, it is aptissimum, it is most appropriate, or venenum, poison is most appropriate to a hostile, to a wicked enemy. So poison. Why did Salvius feel doubtful about it? Doubt the idea of reservations expressed by the word said here. So you say use the little trigger points in the language to try and help you. But how are we able to efficere, to bring about such a thing, said Salvius. For Bellimachus, and this is the key point of the answer here, trusts in nobody. Confido, as a compound, takes the dative case, hence nemini, not neminem. Bellimachus trusts nobody. So the answer, why do they feel doubtful about it? You've got to sort of do a little bit of work there to interpret the answer, but it's simply that Bellimicus would be very difficult to get close to because he trusts nobody, so it's not a simple matter trying to poison him. Question number 9. The friend gave reasons in support of his suggestion. Give 2 of them, lines 19 to 21. Okay, here, this is the relevant bit here. It is easy, facile est. Note the use of the neuter there, big one, the neuter, facile. It is easy, nobis, for us, decipere, to deceive this homunculum. That's a diminutive form, not hominem, but a sort of lower form of man, if you like, homunculum, like little man. It's clearly an offensive term to sort of demean him, a diminutive form. So the reason why it might be easy, and the answer is, I'll just outline that little bit here. So venenum, poison, having been mixed with food, deceived many more intelligent, cleverer men than Bellimicus Yam already. So one of the reasons in support is that the administration of poison is actually something which has been used to greater effect for more intelligent men, more intelligent enemies than him. The other point he makes, just to reinforce that, is ipse scio. I myself, ipse just reinforces whatever the subject is, because it's a nominative case. I know myself to give poison, or how to give poison, perite, skillfully. One might even say carefully. Question 10. So the answer there, I should say, is that to give reasons. It's been used in the past to deceive many more intelligent people, and he himself has skilled knowledge in how to administer it. Question 10. What did Salvius say would be very easy to do? Lines 22 to 3. Always good to mark these off. Lines 21, 22 and 3. There you go. This exclamation here doesn't really translate very well. Euge, great, brilliant, said Salvius. Delighted by the plan amici of his friend. And now we've got the relevant bit. Again, the trigger point here. What did he say would be very easy to do? And we see the word very easy here, so that should draw your attention. It is very easy, mihi, for me, to invitare illum, to invite him to a splendid banquet. And they go together, case number and gender. So it's easy for me to invite him to a sumptuous banquet. That's the answer for number 10. It's a single pointer. Doesn't need any more than that. Nearly there. Question 11. How did Salvius say he would lure Bellimicus into his trap, and why was he certain of success? Lines 23 and 5. How did he say he would lure him in? Again, trigger point, you're going to get fed up with me saying this, but necesse est, this is the obligation he's now under to execute the plan. It is necessary for me to send a blandam epistolam to him. Blandam, kind, nice, flattering. We get the word bland from it, which means sort of slightly featureless and boring, but that's not really that modern English has come a long way from its root meaning. Flattering, nice, tempting, I suppose you might say. So part 1 of question 11, how did he say he would lure him into the trap? He would send him a flattering letter. And part 2 of that, why was he certain of success? Line 25. Again, we've got this word here for the explanatory element of his what he's saying here. For non potest, he is not able resistere, which takes the dative, to show resistance to, explains how that dative is activated, to soft words and flattering words. So in other words, why is he certain of success? Because this particular character is not immune to flattering, mollifying, softening up words, you might say. Any of that would do. Finally, question 12. Pick out and translate one group of Latin words in the last sentence to show that he fell into that trap. You might, on the face of that, be looking at adverbs, adjectives, really, but let's have a look at the actual sentence itself. and it's this last paragraph here. So Salvius therefore invited Bulimicus to the palace sine mora, preposition taking the ablative without delay. Does that answer the question? Pick out and translate one group of words which show that he fell into it. No, that just shows Salvius' actions. It doesn't show the actual result of it, so we can eliminate that. I wouldn't recommend you do it in the exam necessarily in this way, but I'm just trying to show you how the mind works on it. Qui, who, deceived by the mendacious letter, neque, and not having suspected, suspicor being a deponent verb, so you translate it actively, having not neque, suspicatus, not having suspected any fraud, came to the palace nona hora, in the 9th hour. Not 9 o'clock, it's 9th hour after dawn. So, pick out and translate one group of Latin words to show that he fell into the trap. I suppose there are two really here. The success, this line, this little phrase here, which shows that he was successfully deceived. So, having been deceived by the mendacious, lying, fraudulent letter, if you like. So that shows it's positive. That shows it worked. And the other bit is this bit here, this phrase with the deponent in it, not having suspected any trickery. Again, that would be, I'd probably put both of those in. It's not particularly clear. So pick out and translate one group of Latin words. Actually, I think there's probably enough Latin within either of those to get you the 2 points. But again, it does show that even somebody who's experienced in reading these, you've got to sometimes really look hard at the question and think, what exactly do I have to do to earn, in this case, the 2 points here, without committing any careless errors. Right, so I will post this up. I understand there are Firefly issues at the moment, so I'm going to stick this, I'll probably post it to you on Teams, and perhaps double up by sending you an email as well. So all I'd really like you to do is just to review homework which should have been done last week. Take the time, this is about 18 minutes long. Take your time just to mark yourself out of 20, and if you could just let me know by email how you've got on with that, and if you've got any concerns with it or any disagreements with it, I'm certainly open to that. I'll take them in, at least try and tick along by keeping some sort of assessment going. Hopefully you got the Firefly message before it went down, so about tomorrow's lesson and about Thursday. I will double down on that again, just in case you didn't. But Tuesday's lesson, if you could just do the stage 29 captions, page 2 and 3, I think it is, questions 1 to 6. Fryer, you may not have done any of these, but Sydney and Thomas, you probably got through most of 1 and 2 from memory, but it does leave you with 3 to 6. So have a go at those. It's not too time taxing. I just rather you focus upon accuracy, particularly of person and tense of the passive verbs. And then on Thursday, I'll forward you one of these sort of commentaries as well, so you can mark your own. And that way, we've got a couple of marks arising out of this week without an awful lot, hopefully, of stress.